Coming up, how students are still on edge 2 weeks after the Ped Mall shooting.
And why University of Iowa students were personally invited to the nation's capital.
Hitting the home stretch, Iowa baseball looks to improve their standing during the final weeks of Big Ten play.
Whimsical weather on the way. I'll have your forecast for the week ahead.
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning, live from Iowa City is Wednesday, May 6th. I'm Kabidi Mutamba.
And I'm Linda Laco.
And the third member of our team, Dan Dickerson, is live outside to tell us today's forecast.
Hey Dan, will things be beautifully sunny this week?
Hey guys, as you can see around me, all of those April showers have finally brought us some May flowers. Now if we take a look out on that Pentacrest cam, you'll see it's going to be a pretty cloudy Wednesday. Today we're seeing some chilly to moderate temperatures with a high in the mid-50s and a low in the upper 30s. And tomorrow we'll be seeing similar temperatures with a high in the mid-50s and a low in the mid-30s. And hopefully just a little bit of sun peeking through those clouds. I'll have your full forecast for the week ahead later, but for now, I'm going to stop and smell the flowers. Back to you.
It's been just over 2 weeks since the shooting in downtown Iowa City left several people injured. For many students, the physical scene has cleared, but the emotional impact is still unfolding. I spoke with students about how things that night still affecting their sense of safety today. Viewer discretion is advised. Just before 2 a.m., the night was winding down for many in downtown Iowa City when chaos broke out. On April 19th, a large fight erupted near the pedestrian mall. Shortly then, gunshots were fired near College and Clinton Street. Police say 5 people were injured, including 3 University of Iowa students with 1 in critical condition.
Top sirens right away as well, so that was just kind of really crazy to experience something like that. Just the people running away, screaming. I'm sure it was just even worse for the people who were right there, but it was a really crazy experience.
In the days following the shooting, the community responded with visuals, calls for safety, and conversations online about what happened and what needs to change. But for many students, the impact is more personal.
Days where I'll be fine, I'll feel safe, and then there's other times where I'm in a panic. I don't know necessarily what to do, what to think, and it's such an uneasy feeling because before that, it's nothing. You would never have expected that to happen here in Iowa City, in somewhere where I used to feel so safe, and now I'm kind of I don't know how to feel.
And though it's only been a short amount of time since that shooting, the fear still lingers. The gunshots, the screaming, and right here is where I pushed my own friends to the ground to shield them from safety from the situation at hand. Myself and others did get away from the danger, but experiencing that and witnessing it firsthand, that feeling does not just go away.
Regardless of whether or not it's light out or not, I literally had a full-blown panic attack yesterday out of the blue from being in the Ped Mall.
Students say simple things like going out with friends or walking through downtown now come with a sense of caution. Some say they find themselves more alert, while others are still processing what they experienced.
Because you do get that feeling now in the back of your head or in your chest, and you're like, is something going to happen? I just have to be a little more cautious and things like that.
And so it's such an eerie feeling being right in that spot. Even just standing there, it's just, I would rather not be there.
Understanding that though many got away, it is something that is hard to forget. For those impacted, the University of Iowa and local organizations offer many support resources. And for students still processing what happened, you are not alone. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to not be okay. This is something that takes time to heal from. And the family of Miranda Peters, the University of Iowa student who was shot in the head in the downtown shooting, says her current condition is improving. Peters has been in critical condition since the shots rang in early that Sunday morning. Her family said that she could be moved out of the intensive care unit soon. Peters has been taken off the ventilator and is breathing on her own with oxygen support when needed. Peter's sister has created a GoFundMe shown on your screen and now which has raised over $185,000 so far, serving as a way to keep the community informed about her condition. You can visit the link to donate to Miranda's recovery.
And the Herbert Hoover Presidential Library and Museum in West Branch is getting ready to reopen after major renovations. The museum has been closed since early 2025 for its first major update in more than 30 years. It's a $20.3 million project funded by the Hoover Presidential Foundation. West Branch honors Herbert Hoover and his legacy in more ways than just the library.
We have a historic site and a library and museum dedicated to the president. And so there is a lot of pride in this town for preserving documents, preserving homes.
The renovation for the library includes an expanded lobby, updated galleries, and redesigned visitor spaces. The museum is expected to reopen to the public in summer of 2026, marking a new chapter for one of Iowa's most visited historic sites. And Iowa drivers are feeling an even greater dent in their wallets at the pump. Gas prices in Iowa have climbed at a rate that we haven't seen in a couple of years, and we're heading towards record highs. DITV's Liz Schultz joins us live outside in Iowa City, Casey's, with an update on these rising prices. Liz?
Yeah, Betty, if you filled up on gas recently, you've definitely noticed those prices aren't going down. I'm here outside of the Casey's on East Benton Street, where if you take a look behind me, prices are at $4.29 this morning. Now, the average for the state of Iowa is sitting at around $4.11 a gallon. Now, that is the first time that Iowa has seen above that $4 mark since 2022. But this isn't happening slowly. Now, gas prices within the past couple of days have risen about 15 cents, and they're up more than 60 cents in the past month. That means drivers are now paying more than $1 higher than last year. Now, while Iowa isn't the most expensive state, places like California are seeing prices over $6 a gallon. Now, this spike is driven by higher global oil prices, along with supply changes and increased demand as we head back into the summer travel season. Now, the highest that the state of Iowa has ever seen for gas prices was back in June of 2022, when it was at around $4.80 a gallon. Now, as we head into that summer travel season, we're continuing to see those gas prices rise, but we'll continue keeping you updated. For now, I'm live in Iowa City. Liz Schultz, DITV.
And the Iowa City Police Department is looking at a new home.
Yeah, we have DITV's news director Kayla Smith live outside the Iowa City Council Hall with a huge change for not only the police department but the Iowa City School District. Kayla?
Kavetti, Linda, the Iowa City City Council voted to approve the purchase of the Iowa City Community School District's former administrative offices just last night for over $3 million. And now you may be wondering why exactly the city wants that building. I mean, it is a 6-minute drive from downtown, and it's a little bit smaller than a football field. Well, they are hoping to make it their new police department. Now, the Iowa City Police Department has been in need of some renovations or a move for quite some time. They haven't seen a major update since the 1980s, over 35 years ago. And now it may seem like this is a huge win for ICPD, but there is some concern amongst community members just with how far this new building would be. I mean, it's a 6-minute drive, it's up on North Dodge, away from other areas of Iowa City, but ICPD says we don't need to worry about that.
Are out and about, they're assigned to specific districts and they're out in the field. So when a call comes out, like the call a week and a half ago, there wasn't a response necessarily from here.
Right now, ICCSD is still using the space that the city hopes to purchase, which is why the city would give them the option to then lease it back for 2 years at no cost. This would also give the school district enough time to then move to their new home, which will be at the former ACT Center at the Center for Innovation. And after this lease is up, the city would then give the school district the opportunity to purchase back a part of that building. That would be separate from ICPD. And now there are certainly a lot of moves happening on the local government realm, but there is a lot happening also statewide. So let's go ahead and send it over to DITV's Hannah Fideli, who is in the newsroom, with how the state of Iowa is working with the Department of Justice.
Yeah, Kayla, the Iowa Secretary of State handed over voter registration data to the U.S. Department of Justice, complying with the request from the federal government. Now, last May, the Department of Justice requested voting records from each state and Washington, D.C., citing the Civil Rights Act of 1960. Information includes Social Security numbers and driver's license numbers. The DOJ claims this move is to maintain election integrity. Iowa Secretary of State Paul Pat said, quote, "The Department of Justice has assured us that the data will be protected appropriately under federal law, and we expect them to uphold that promise." Now, states have been rejecting the requests, claiming privacy and security concerns, also saying that it interferes with federal and state laws because states are responsible for elections and maintaining voter registration information. 30 states have been sued by the Department of Justice for not providing that data. For now, I'll send it back to the ladies at the desk. Hannah Lipsky, Fideli, DITV.
Thank you, Hannah. And students from 2 Iowa universities took a unique trip around the nation's capital.
And DITV's Josie Boyle accompanied the group and has the full story.
It's not very often that students are personally invited to Washington, D.C. to meet with the Vice President of the United States, but politically involved students from Iowa universities had the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity this past weekend.
I'm here outside the Washington Monument, where Turning Point USA members from the University of Iowa and Iowa State University are here to visit Vice President J.D. Vance to make up for his canceling of the event at Iowa State University earlier this week.
Both Vice President Vance and Erica Kirk were scheduled to visit Iowa State University on Thursday, April 30th, but the event was canceled due to scheduling conflicts. Vice President Vance's team reached out to Turning Point USA members to invite them to meet him in Washington, D.C. instead. One member was very surprised and excited to hear the news.
I got the notification on my phone saying, "Do you want to go to the White House on Friday?" And I jumped out of my seat.
The students flew out to Washington, D.C. and were accompanied by staff from the White House and the Turning Point USA organization around the city before meeting with Vice President Vance. Members discussed policies, campus events, and religion with the Vice President and received an exclusive private tour of the U.S. Capitol building.
I feel like this trip definitely made up for not being able to go to J.D. Vance at Iowa State because we, first of all, got the honor to meet him and talk to him and get to tour all around D.C., which I personally never been in. It was a very historical and educational experience for me.
Both Wiese and Jerzyk were proud to represent their home state of Iowa and advocate for their goals, and were very grateful for the once-in-a-lifetime experience. From Washington, D.C., Josie Boyle, DITV.
And coming up later, full coverage from Iowa baseball, Iowa basketball athletes take home awards, and Iowa volleyball releases their conference schedule. All that and more coming up right after the break.
Hi, my name is Cole Crutzield. I'm a photographer here at KCRG. I was at DITV as a sports reporter my junior and senior year, and there is a lot I learned while I was at DITV that is helpful to my job now. My job involves a lot of shooting and editing, and that is certainly something that I learned a lot of at my time at DITV, whether it was shooting highlights for different games or doing stories about different athletes. A lot of it is very useful to my job now. Here's to 20 years at DITV.
Welcome back, and let's check things in with Dan for the week ahead.
Hey guys, we're gonna see some pretty whimsical weather for the week ahead. Now let's take another look out on that Pentacrest, where we are seeing an ideal spot to frolic through the grass between those last few classes of the semester. Friday we'll have a chance for rain with a high in the mid-60s and a low in the mid-40s. Saturday we'll have another chance for rain with a warmer high in the mid-70s. Sunday we'll continue our drizzly weekend with a rain and a high in the mid-60s. And lastly, Monday and Tuesday will bring us a high in the mid-60s and a low in the mid-40s. For our wonderful tech team who are graduating and our live shot operators who make every show a perfect show, I'm Dan, the Weatherman Dickerson.
Well, it looks like it's agreeable weather for a home run, in my opinion. Cole?
Yeah, guys, the senior-led Iowa baseball team played their final home game of the season last night at Dwayne Banks Field. DITV's Nick Isles has the recap of the Hawks' 14-4 win against St. Thomas.
Just beyond the outfield wall, the Iowa baseball team played their 47th and final home game here at Duane Banks Field, where they hope to have a strong performance in front of the Hawkeye faithful.
Iowa shot out of a cannon early against St. Thomas, scoring 8 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Senior Miles Risley got the party started, plating Cooper Schulte with a sac fly.
He doesn't know who you are.
Senior Matthew Delgado singled to right to send his fellow classmates Gable Mitchell and Caleb Wolf home to extend the inning. A mix of more hits, walks, and errors helped Iowa get into a groove.
It was good production up and down the lineup. My message is just attack, just keep attacking, just like we've been doing.
Despite the commanding performance overall, Heller is striving for a more efficient bullpen as the road continues.
You know, all 4 runs were walks, and that's the, it sounds like a broken record, but that's the lesson.
St. Thomas made it 13-4 in the 7th, which meant the Hawks needed 1 more run to close the game early.
Now batting first baseman number 1, Caleb Wolf.
Entered the senior in his final game at Banks Field. A walk-off, a single to left, scoring Schulte to win the game in the 8th inning. One final celebration for Caleb Wolf in Iowa City.
Coming through with a walk-off win and a final memory here at home for Iowa to never forget. Reporting for the final time this season from Duane Banks Field, Nick Isles, DITV Sports.
And after last night's game, Iowa baseball has just 2 weeks of play remaining before the Big Ten tournament. Ryan Paris is live from Duane Banks Field with what Iowa fans need to know heading into the home stretch in the regular season. Ryan?
That's right, Cole. There are 2 weekend series remaining for the Hawkeyes as they start to look ahead to the Big Ten tournament in late May. Now, the Hawkeyes in the Big Ten standings currently sit in 8th in the conference with a 12-12 record. That's coming off a 2-1 victory over Illinois this past weekend. Iowa's chances for a bye have likely gone out the window. It's a very competitive conference this year, but the Hawks can still up their seeding with wins in their remaining series against Purdue, currently in 6th place, and the rival Nebraska Cornhuskers, currently in 2nd. And it's those Huskers who will be on tap this weekend when Iowa heads to Lincoln for that road series. The Huskers are currently ranked 25th in the nation, but are coming off a brutal series versus Ohio State, which saw the Buckeyes sweep them. Well, Iowa will look to win the series against the Huskers for the 2nd year in a row. Game 1 between them is set for Friday at 6 p.m. in Lincoln. From Duane Banks Field, Ryan Paris, DITV Sports.
And the 2026 Iowa Athletes of the Year have officially been announced, going out to Iowa basketball stars Bennett Sturtz and Hannah Stuelke. In his 1 year at Iowa, Sturtz gave his all, averaging 19.8 points, 4.4 assists, and 2.6 rebounds per game, while shooting 47.7% from the field with 92 triples. The guard was a key point in Iowa's Elite 8 run. And on the women's side, Hannah Stuelke, a 3-time second-team All-Big Ten selection, averaged 13.4 points per game and a team-best 9 rebounds per game in the 2025-2026 season, while tying the school record in the NCAA tournament game with 19 rebounds in her final contest. And mark your calendars, basketball fans, as it was announced yesterday that Iowa and Creighton have agreed to a neutral site game for the 26-27 season. The contest between Iowa and Creighton will take place on Sunday, November 15th at the Casey Center in Des Moines. The addition adds another big non-conference game on top of Iowa's matchups against Iowa State and Xavier for the upcoming season. Both teams previously met in Des Moines back in 2011, where Iowa won 82-59. Both programs have met 16 times previously, with Creighton having a slight edge with a 9-7 record versus Iowa. And more news out of Iowa men's wrestling program as Drew Ayala announced he's entering the transfer portal. Ayala is the younger brother of 3-time All-American Drake Ayala, who just wrapped up his senior season. Drew is coming off his redshirt freshman season where he did not see competition. Drew Ayala is the second Hawkeye to enter the portal over the last week, joining Cale Peterson. And the Iowa volleyball team's conference schedule has been released for the upcoming season. Earlier in the year, the conference announced the end of the Big Ten tournament to determine a postseason volleyball champion. This means that the regular season play has been shaved down from 20 games to 17. Iowa will host 8 home games and travel to 9 away matches. One of the key matches for Iowa will be in Lincoln, Nebraska, when they face the top-ranked Cornhuskers, the team that holds the most dominant attendance streak in women's sports, with over 349 consecutive sold-out games at the Bob Devaney Center. The Big Ten play will begin in the fall.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you for joining us online or listening on KRUI 89.7 FM.
We'll be right back here on Friday morning live on thedailyiowan.com. For all of us here, thank you, and we'll see you again.